Horns, 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 horns. Daniel Radcliffe is Satan.
Opposite of what we were calling for.
It's the least legit podcast in the business.
No, I love it.
You love it? Okay, so welcome back to Hurd Ya Saw, everybody. We are full of... What are we full of? Grilled cheese?
So many brownies.
So many brownies. Many cookies.
Ice cream.
Oh my god. It's been a decadent evening. I'm holding a glass of Pinot Grigio in my hand. Because it's just been that kind of evening. This is, I think we can say, the decadent cast. I'm joined by EJ, Sean, Shay, and special guest Kelsey.
Yay!
Welcome to the podcast, Kelsey. Yay! That is, without doubt, the most enthusiastic welcome for a guest we've ever had. Joe and Jim feel bad. So, we just finished watching the movie Horns, starring Daniel Radcliffe. We will begin, as ever, with our one-line hot takes. Kelsey, the basic premise is that you need to summarize your feelings on the film in one snappy, one-line hot take. I will not begin with you because you're the newcomer. That's not necessarily fair. Sean, give me a one-line hot take.
Probably one of the first films where I actually felt sympathy for the devil.
Nice.
Ah,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah.
Good,
Yes.
glad guys got that.
Shay?
Daniel Radcliffe with a snake around his shoulder. I'd tap that.
It was also just a really strong aesthetic,
It was
right?
strong, yeah. I've never seen Daniel Radcliffe in that light before, and then he had a snake around his shoulder. I was like,
Was it the
Yeah.
sort of dangerous, sexy kind
it
of
was
feeling?
like, and he was all moody and like looking around at people with his moody snake and
Yeah.
I'm all sad and stuff. And it's like, yeah.
And the Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3 hair.
I know you ruined it for me.
Oh,
You ruined it for me.
If he'd done a dance routine, I would have been super sold. Kelsey, your one-line hot take.
Oh, God. Satan rules, man.
Excellent. EJ.
Fiery, horny, Seattle.
Nice.
Yeah.
And my one-line hot take. Probably the best attempt at Daniel Radcliffe to distance himself from Potterdom since Equus, playing the literal
It's been a
devil.
while since Equus, yeah.
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 So, as is tradition, EJ, would you like to recount the plot of Horns?
Okay.
I'm going to shift the mic a little more directly at you to get maybe slightly better sound quality on your quiet voice.
This felt like a book. Like, this was very clearly an adaptation of a book.
Is it an adaptation of a book?
It is.
Okay,
It
cool.
is.
So it's not just...
A book by
It
Joe
is.
Hill.
Oh, Christ. We're going to have
Renowned and wonderful.
to... No. You have great projection and diction. That's
I'm
fine.
the
It's
only one here who does it.
mumblecore over here in the corner.
We need a different mic for EJ. We need a separate mic.
Okay, so the plot.
It goeth thusly.
It's told in voiceover from present Daniel Radcliffe, whose name is Iggy, somehow.
Ignatius Perish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Did not know that was established. Okay, so Iggy is in love with this girl.
Juno Temple.
Great. And they are lying on the grass and being in love, and then all of a sudden it flips over and he's like drunk and like, you're like, okay, so this is like a thing. Sure, let's go with this style.
A time skip kind of feeling.
Yes.
Yes.
And we go back into the past and
No,
Present?
no.
what?
They establish when it flips over and he's drunk and sad on the floor, that it's then like, oh yeah, it's him, he apparently murdered girl he was in love with.
Yes.
That's like the jumping off point.
Yes.
Yeah, that's before we go to the past.
That is the past.
No, that's the present.
Okay, we'll call it the present. That's the present. All right.
Yes.
They flip into the present and, oh, this girl's been murdered and everybody thinks he's done it. Oh, fuck. That seems bad. And so you're supposed to feel sorry for him. And I'm really good at this.
You're nailing this right now.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So, his family doesn't think he's done it, kind of. And then his childhood best friend is defending him in court. And they are struggling to prove that he's innocent. And
There was a fire that destroyed the forensics laboratory that had all the evidence.
yeah. So one day he wakes up and he has horns and everyone's like, what the fuck is this? Horns? But also they're not really fazed by it and just confess to him all of their dark secrets. And he just walks around being confessed to, and people do all kinds of crazy shit in front of him. And he's working on solving who the fuck killed his girlfriend, because it wasn't him, and his brother's a drug addict and a jazz player, a jazz musician.
The two go together.
Yeah, they go together.
Jazz musicians do love drugs.
And the only person resistant to this confession is his friend Lee, the public defender, and that's kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
And sometimes we flash back to the distant past,
The distant past.
when, as children, they met this girl. What was her name?
Marin.
Marin?
Marin.
Yes.
That's a name.
It is a name of a
And-
person played by
in-
Juno Temple.
Like
Yeah.
4 boys and then Marin and like a random girl who's never really.
Was she just a
Red
question?
eye.
She's the
Was she
older-
was she
yeah.
the barmaid?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The one who liked donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
She didn't like donuts.
She loved
But
donuts.
she ate them.
She ate them.
But she
Because she hates herself.
Why would you eat something you hate because you hate yourself? Surely you eat things to
'Cause
try
she wanted
and
to-
dull the pain.
To get fat. She was self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
It's something that happens when people hate themselves.
I've never
As
known
the confident
such an
man. The
emo-
confident man would not know.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I've never felt a moment of doubt.
When you ate that brownie earlier, you
Oh,
ate
God.
it proudly.
I ate it way too quickly, I swear down, man. Like,
was
you were all in
great.
the next room being social, I was just here going, oh, it's so good.
Anyway, back to the film.
Anyway.
It's gonna be a bit of a loosey-goosey cast. I mean, that's just the way,
Okay.
you know,
Back
the way it goes.
in the film. Okay, so Daniel Radcliffe's like, oh shit, I gotta get rid of these horns, these are fucking crazy. So he tries to get rid of these horns, and then suddenly snakes, and then snakes are like, he can control snakes, and all the snakes are drawn to him, and he's just kind of like, okay, I'll wear a snake, cool.
Snake scarf
That's where
activates.
snake comes
Scarf,
in.
and
Yeah.
then he,
She comes in, yes.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Daniel Radcliffe, if you listen to this, we'd love to meet you.
We got a plan for
Big
you.
fans.
so he walks
Bring your
around
snake.
town being like, here's my snake, I'm gonna get revenge on all of these crazy people who are trying to, like, fuck up my life. And, oh yeah, he can also see into people's minds, and,
By touching them on the neck.
yeah, so he
Sensitive area.
Yeah.
touches his brother's neck, and his brother was there on the night when he proposed, and Marin ran away and broke up with him.
There'll be spoilers.
There's
Yeah, I mean,
Always spoilers.
yeah, I mean, this
Spoilers.
movie,
Spoilers.
this movie
Always.
did come out in 2013, so I
Yeah.
mean, I'll say now, if you're worried, just in general, it's pretty good. You should go watch it. We'll wait. Okay, welcome back.
Thank
Okay,
you.
now
Okay, great
EJ,
job.
please continue with the spoilers.
Yeah, so, his brother was there on the night. He was holding a bloody rock.
And it was like, fuck,
And I was like, oh
I was
shit.
fucked up on drugs.
Yeah. So, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe forces him to overdose.
Using his mind control powers, which he kind of has a bit.
Yep. And then also, Lee confesses to him once he takes Marin's cross off and
Because
is
it was protecting him.
subjected to the devil's powers. And then he like whips him with a chain and then sets his car on fire. And everyone's like, "What the fuck is happening? This guy's fucking crazy." So Daniel Radcliffe drives it into the lake and then is fine later. And it's like, okay, cool.
Why would you try and kill the devil with
Yeah.
fire?
What a fool.
Yeah, he's a moron.
That's basic, like, not how you kill devil 101.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people
and
forget about the horn, so they're not like.
Yeah, the doctor,
Yeah.
they do
the
a
horns
stuff.
are just kind of there.
The doctor is all like, it's when I see them, but if I look away, I instantly
Yeah,
forget,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that they even
yeah.
exist. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's like a kind of perception, magic.
It is.
Yeah,
Devil
Lee
shit.
doesn't see Daniel Radcliffe with the horns and go, let me just look up my ancient lore to make sure the right way to kill you.
See, that
He's
was
just like,
that was
"I'm
that
gonna
was
do
that
it."
was his second mistake.
Yeah.
His first mistake was grossly misinterpreting the friendship of a young woman
Yes.
as
Yes.
I feel I'm owed sex with this lady.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have a conversation about that kind of stuff.
Typical
Oh, it's
man.
gonna be good fun.
So all of that happens. Lee continues to be a jackass, and then
Raging jackass.
yeah, they confront him in the woods. A bunch of people get shot, and then Daniel Radcliffe turns into an actual devil, and then all the snakes go inside of Lee and then come out of his body, and it's just like really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And then everyone dies.
well, yeah, then Daniel Radcliffe dies and goes to his paradise place, apparently, which is with Marin. So,
Which is where we started off from,
The-
which is why I said everything's in the past.
fair enough. Okay, yeah, you were kind of like doing a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So, who would like to kick off with their thoughts on this film? Kelsey,
Okay.
As the guest on the show, what do you got? What do you think? What do you want to talk about?
I'm so obsessed with this movie.
Yeah?
I just want to say that.
Bring it out.
And I know y'all thought it was weird because it is weird.
It's
and
pretty weird.
Great.
It's pretty weird, yeah.
And it's fabulous in such a good way. Max Minghella, first of all, star of my world.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Lee.
Okay.
Beautiful man.
He's a
Beautiful
good
man.
actor.
He's such a great actor. He was also in my favorite Killer's music video, so that's important to know.
He played a psychotic bastard really, really well in
Yes,
this film.
he did.
I believed that he was a monster.
He is a monster. And Joe Anderson, as always, played a very convincing drug addict.
Yes.
So I thought that was great.
Yep.
What
Do we think he was actually playing that trumpet?
I actually was wondering that.
Yes.
I don't know.
He had, I think, the correct embouchure for it.
It looked like he was doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed accurate.
He was either doing it but not actually playing the notes, or he can actually play the trumpet.
Yeah. In any case, kudos to the trumpeter.
I know.
Yeah,
It was great.
What's your history
Yeah.
with this film? Because pre-show,
Oh,
we were talking
yes.
about how you have a bit of a link to this movie.
I wouldn't say I have a link to this movie.
This is a hot exclusive.
Yes!
Hurd Ya Saw.
Oh yeah,
Yes!
we bring you nothing but the best on this trash cast.
On a
That's right.
2013 movie. We
Like lightning. 5 years later, we're in there.
Yes. Well, unfortunately for you guys, the closest you're gonna get to like the inside scoop on this movie is that I saw a screening of it
Oh,
before it was released.
oh damn.
So no, I did not work on this movie.
Fair.
No, I do not have any connection whatsoever to this film.
You're just a fan?
I'm a big fan.
There
But
we
you
go.
did see this film
Big fan.
pre-Snakes.
Yeah.
Saw this film pre-snakes.
Oh, there were no... What?
There were no snakes.
What?
Told you it's
There was
exclusive.
also yes.
Wait, what do you mean
very
there were no
exclusive.
snakes? What happened at the end if there were no
VFX
snakes?
were not
Oh,
completely finished.
so there was like conceptual snakes,
So there were strings.
right?
And in some parts there were no strings. It was just a screen.
When Daniel Radcliffe was walking around all sexily, was it just string or was it a snake then?
You
Was
know
that
what?
a
I
real
don't
snake? That
remember.
was-
I don't remember.
Inquiring minds must know.
This was like
Did-
2012. So
Do you feel that he had the same gravitas of what we just saw here?
the first time I saw it,
Yeah.
I
Were you
absolutely
drawn
do.
in with his moody face? And
Yes.
it's like kind of, I'm gonna
his
get
sultry,
revenge.
moody face. Yeah.
And his slightly less than convincing Seattle accent.
Mm.
He drifted into Canadian a
his-
little.
Yeah. Although I was impressed, I forgot that he was American in this movie, and when it first started, I was like, wow, his accent is like on fleek.
Most of the people in this movie are not American.
Yeah.
Which is very
Mm.
weird.
Yeah.
The only person that is the girl. Everybody
Juno
else is
Temple?
British.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Lee's British. So is trumpet player.
What else have I seen Lee in? Just remind me. What else has he been in?
I don't know. That Killer's music video.
He's aside from a Killer's music
He's
video.
been in like a bunch of stuff, but this is definitely his biggest role.
Really? I feel
Yeah.
like I've seen him in something like reasonably sizable.
Yeah.
Shay is
Only we had the internet.
Shay is
Slide on over.
lovely. Shay Bay is
Google
going to the back computer.
Shay Bay.
We have like the ridiculous setup this time that we've got like a giant screen so we
Yeah,
can
we
all
can
see. No one's looking awkwardly at their phone
No.
this time. While we're looking that up,
Why?
Sean,
Mm.
what is your thoughts?
I really like the fact that after sort of Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe has definitely tried to do new things.
Mm.
Really, he's not just sticking
Mhm.
to one
Mhm.
sort of genre, and he's it's that thing of like, I'm gonna go play the devil, I'm gonna go play a corpse, I'm gonna go try and be Hugh Grant. You know,
He did say the interesting thing when he did the WTF podcast with Mark Maron. Radcliffe pointed out, he was like, basically, I'm financially secure for the rest of my life. He's like, that's not in question. He's like, I can basically be as selective as I want about projects. So he's very clear about he'll only do films that he actually wants to do. I can see why he wanted to do this film, because if I'd been given that script, I would really enjoy playing some of those characters or encountering some of those situations.
Totally.
Shay, do you have us an update from the interwebs?
Update. He was in The Darkest Hour, I think. The Internship, The Ides of March, and The Social Network.
Oh, the
I
Ides
think.
of March!
Social Network's where I reckon.
Oh, he was the
Yeah.
Winklevoss's little shit boy!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he was shit boy with the Winklevosses!
And the Killer's music video is called Shot
Shot
at the Night.
Nice.
Good song.
Nice,
Great
nice.
song.
Yeah.
Sean,
Fabulous song.
do continue.
Where was
God, it's like
Just
live, it's like live radio here. Oh.
From the situation room. Is it one finger or two finger in the earpiece? You're like, oh, sure,
It depends on
please.
the severity of the thing being
Indeed.
told to you.
You seen that bit with John Oliver and Cookie Monster?
Yes.
Yes!
We watched that
We
like
watched that
once.
here.
I love it, it's so good.
Oh,
There are
Yeah,
cookies from the
anyway.
80s.
but yeah, like it's something of just like if I was an actor and I got this script, I'd be all over this. Like it'd just be such a great part to play, you know, because you would get to play the very different ranges, really.
Yeah,
I think because you have those big emotional moments, but you know there is still that air of comedy in it.
Yeah,
as well, so-
that's what I liked about this film. I mean, here, if I may leap in as a host, ungraciously, it had me right up until the third act. I feel like the third act, it had some really big emotional climactic pieces, I think, right in the middle. Like, you know, the sort of revelation about his brother and his brother's fucking trip out sequence. And I'm like, oh my God, this is giving me emotions. This is very uncomfortable. However, and then the revelation of Lee, and then he's like, I will fucking hit you with a chain and burn you and throw you in the river. And I was like, man, good film. And then it kept going for a bit. And then it sort of, it kind of seemed to lose its way, I think, in sort of what it was trying to do tonally. And the cohesion of it just felt a bit. So the cross is restorative, it's protective, but now the dad believes him, even though he can and cannot see the... Like, I wanted him to just say, when he came to the girl's dad's house, to be like, I know what happened to your daughter, I'm also all fucked up and super burned. It was a bit, do you want, like, a shower, or, like, some aloe vera, or something? Like, I feel like, you know, the Harvey Dent over here has got a lot of problems going on, like, maybe...
So they have like, hang on, I might have some Germany.
Yeah, just literally anything would have really been a help. But that's where it started to lose me. But I really liked, for the first 2/3 of the film, it struck a really good balance between serious emotional stuff, and it was funny, and it was inventive. I liked that sort of the absurdist kind of magical stuff was kind of incidental. Everyone was just like, I want to burn down my bar, and everyone was like, okay, fuck it, let's go.
I like that it didn't go like, here's why it's horns. Here's what it's just like. Yeah, no, fuck it. He's got horns.
Yeah,
There you go.
he's
Yeah.
the devil.
Yeah.
No explanation.
And
And
it
I
was
was like, yep, I'm on
great.
board.
Yep.
Cool.
We're just like, also, it's
We're
like
going with this.
it was like two movies kind of put together. It was like, it is a murder mystery about a young guy in love in a small town with musical theming. Also, he happens to be the devil, which I think that's a pretty good
I think
premise.
that's probably the elevator pitch for this film.
It's like it's a romantic murder mystery tragedy, but the protagonist is the devil.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's literally how it happened. That's how this film got greenlit, because they
Yeah.
were just like, yes.
It's Gone Girl, but with the devil and the girl.
Oh.
Hang on, isn't Ben Affleck the devil?
Yeah, he is. Fuck man.
Very close.
Enemy of the show, Ben Affleck.
Oh, this
Oh.
enemies list is getting quite long.
We're coming
now,
for
isn't
you,
it?
Ben. You better watch your back.
Leave them alone.
No.
No.
Scumbag.
No, we've got like a whole thing. Like, we've got friends of the show, we've got enemies of the show.
Most of
Okay.
the enemies are just sexual predators.
Yeah.
And then also
Yes.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that, New York. You'll never be as good as you once were. I gather New York's golden age is over. Anyway, EJ.
America's golden age.
Oh, social commentary.
Continue.
America didn't
Wait,
have
what
a
was
golden
that?
Yeah, it's your thoughts on the film, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, what do you got?
This film was bonkers, and I was kind of into it.
Yeah. Do you know what it reminded me of? There's I think it's a Mexican film called Post Tenebris Lux, which is, it's kind of in this vague area of like Pan's Labyrinthy, of kind of doing human storytelling, but with this vaguely supernatural affect. There's a great sequence in Post Tenebris Lux where, apropos of nothing, the lead character as a child witnesses what seems to be the devil, who's like a giant red neon, look at my big swinging dick devil, coming home from work and then going into his parents' room, and you're like, did this literally happen? Is this a metaphor? And there's a bit where somebody literally pulls their own head off.
Oh my God.
It's an incredible film, but it's got that same kind of, there's absurdism and horror, but it's also internally consistent in the sense that nobody really acknowledges it. Everyone's just kind of like,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
film would
it's kind
not
of
have worked.
metaphorical. It's
I
like
feel like
fantastical, but like grounded in reality.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Mm.
have worked if
Appreciate
they
it.
tried to explain it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
we watched that film. That's
Oh,
great.
we should do
Yeah.
that. Post Tenebris Lux
That's
is
cool.
great. It's really cool. It's very grim in some places, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah. You know, like about Groundhog Day and how Groundhog Day originally was supposed to be like a witch cursed him for like
Really?
rejecting her or something.
Oh,
and
what?
that's why he would repeat the days over.
Yeah.
What? Until he
But
falls in
luckily-
love with the witch?
Yeah, until he falls in love with,
Oh.
and finds true love or stops being an asshole or whatever. But the film is good because they was like, no, let's drop that witch thing.
Yeah, it just happens.
And that's what's good
Yeah.
about this film. It's like, no, we don't need an explanation.
Yeah, the fastest you can establish something and have everybody accept it without a ridiculous explanation, the better the film is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to quote one of my favorite movies, I mean, in Pacific Rim, giant monsters just turn up. That's just what
And
happens.
you're on board immediately.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, cool. They're a
5
giant
minutes
monsters.
in,
Yep.
cool. Yes, let's roll.
Yeah, if the
Nailed
film
it.
just tells you something, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, great. But if the film like goes, I'll tell you this thing, but I'll explain why. I need to. It's like, well, stop. Why are you?
Yeah, Ready Player One
You
had
protest.
that syndrome.
Oh,
Too
Ready,
much.
Ready Player One had to explain fucking everything. We're not gonna get dragged into
I know!
shitting on that movie even more. Even though you should feel bad, Steven Spielberg. This and Warhorse, oof.
Oh, war
The
was
show
bad.
Steven Spielberg.
No, he's not enemy of the show.
He's a friend.
He's a friend, but we're just a bit disappointed. We want to have an intervention for Steven Spielberg.
He can come and defend himself on the show.
Oh, no, I feel like he'd feel like, well, I try to make a good
I-
movie.
I want to say Ready Player One. It's
Why
fine.
does he talk kind of like Bane?
That was very bad.
What do people think?
was born in the cinema. You really adopted it.
What do people think of Juno Temple in this film?
She didn't have a lot to do.
I agree. This was going to be my point. I thought she played the character well, but she was. I don't want to say it was full on sexy lamp. It wasn't full on sexy lamp, but she was a bit like, I'm there to motivate rather than being the whole thing of like her being, actually, I had cancer the whole time. That felt like a bridge too far for me. Like, I don't know, did anyone else feel?
That was the moment I remembered it was a book.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it felt like, ooh, this was probably a teen romance.
Oh, it's a teen romance.
I don't know, it probably wasn't teen, but you know that...
Has anyone here read the book, Kelsey?
I have read. Of
Kelsey
course,
read
I've read the book.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Like, how
very
did this?
cool.
How did it
Yes.
flow in the book? Is there any stuff that's abridged or changed, or is it fairly
There's
faithful?
a lot that's changed.
Oh.
So the book is, if you can believe it, much darker.
I can believe.
Much darker.
Okay.
And to your point, Juno Temple's character in the book is, I think, a little bit more of a prop even than she is in the movie.
What?
Oh, wow.
But it kind of works because in the novel, Max Minghella character, Lee, is even more of a misogynist
Oh,
and even
wow.
more of just like a scum of the earth human being.
So actual
Yeah,
murderer
it's-
rapist is even worse than
Absolutely.
okay.
And so like in the movie, you're kind of like, oh, Lee's not a bad guy, like until the very end where he's like, oh, I like
And you're like,
raped
oh.
this girl and bashed her head in with a rock and I have no remorse. In the book, he is so fucked up from the beginning. Like he
Really?
is a horrible, like
Is he that?
womanizing misogynist.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's honestly like difficult to read. It's like repulsive and vulgar and like very hard to read at points. So I feel like what they extrapolated from the book actually they did a really great job of that. Like of
So you think like good
transitioning to
adaptation
screen.
overall?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting that Lee was worse.
Yeah.
I
So
was
much worse.
really
my-
glad they didn't do that.
My next
Yeah.
thing was going to be like, I was impressed at how much I was like, yeah, you're being like horrendously violated by snakes. I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, go get in there. Though I will say, I was slightly disappointed that the snake went in the stomach hole and then came out the back. I wanted to go in and then
out
come
the
out the
mouth.
mouth,
That's what I
right?
thought.
That's
I was
what
like,
I
that would have been
expected.
great. I was just like,
Yeah.
blah, like
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have had that really horrible image of the snake going into the mouth.
That was fine too. I was just like, in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I felt like this is the thing. I don't want to necessarily hold the film to like an unfair standard where it's like the inciting incident is like, you know, it's Lovely Bones-ish in the sense that it's hard to make a film about murdered women having agency when your premise of your book
Exactly.
is how do people react to murdered woman.
Right.
And but I think this, but like you're saying, it's part of it's more propish in the book. But I think because in film, visual medium, we get to see Marin's character a lot more
Yeah.
and see her do stuff where it's just like she's sometimes she's like there, and then you're sort of like, I don't understand why you're doing this. Like, oh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
What if I drive him away to
Right.
save him from his own pain?
Yes.
Ugh,
Yes. But I kind of feel like the point of that is the story itself is kind of like told through this misogynistic lens, and that's like kind of it's intentional,
Yeah.
you know.
Like it's sort of meant to be a sort of view of like how men like. I felt like that was definitely a thing they did. They really put her on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
almost every male character had to be like, I loved her.
Yes.
She
Well,
was.
Well,
it was
she's
that very,
also-
like Twin Peaksy Laura
Twin
Palmer. You know how like in
Yeah.
Twin Peaks everyone loves Laura Palmer.
I have
Just,
not seen Twin Peaks, but I believe you.
Everyone just is in love with her because she's the perfect person of the town. Like it's the small town and everyone's in love with her.
Yeah.
Right.
This
She.
had very
she's
Twin
that-
Well,
Peaks
in this
vibes.
book, she's
Yeah.
supposed to be like the Virgin Mary. So,
Yeah.
so she like literally she literally is on a pedestal, and like there are shrines to her, and everyone is like in love with her,
Mm.
and that's
And through death, she becomes canonized as this perfect, incorruptible symbol of like female purity and
Right,
love. Right.
right.
Okay. Yeah. Even though, within narrative, she was rotten inside from the cancers.
there you go.
Everything is an
true.
artifice. Oh God.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
This is not really about the plot, but you know how one of the father's confessions was, I don't know how to talk to you?
Hmm.
Talking to Daniel Radcliffe?
Mhm.
I could always talk to your brother about music? Daniel Radcliffe's a DJ, that's his job.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they
Mhm.
talk about music?
I think it's maybe his dad was clearly a musician,
Yeah.
and his elder brother's a musician. So I think it was more the idea of creating music.
I,
And it's like maybe he never
I
felt
think
he
it's the
could
thing,
connect
he's a
with it.
DJ for a radio station.
Yeah, but
So-
like, they
Wait,
still have
when was
music
that
in common.
established?
But it's that thing,
Like,
like
multiple
his other
times.
son, he
Several
actually
times.
plays
He
music.
kept referring
Yeah.
to the
So-
station.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
That's why he had all
Yeah,
those
super
records
clear.
and stuff. And he was like, the station
You have
doesn't
to
want
be
me coming
really
back.
passionate
Sounds
about
very
music
British. He's like,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, we were all talking over
That's
each other.
really
That was a bad bit of podcast.
If you followed that, well done.
Yeah, it's multiple conversations. Yeah, no, it's. I think it was interesting in the sort of way that they looked at the loneliness of, the kind of way that you can come to define yourself through your relationship with someone else, and how everything becomes a fulcrum that turns around that. Because I've lived in small town environments where like that's kind of been a thing where you sort of start to define people through their relationship rather than seeing them as autonomous individuals. So when she was, in a way, I kind of wish that she hadn't secretly had cancer, but she was actually like, no, I kind of feel like I've outgrown what we had at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I want to go, I was sort of like, yeah, okay, that's like fair.
Yeah.
If you've grown up in a tiny, small environment and you've only ever, been with one person, been in love with one person, it sometimes can feel that you don't recognize yourself outside of the context of that. And that can be like a prison.
Mhm.
I kind of wish they'd
Which
explored
would
that
be a
more.
good
Yeah, that would've been
reflection to
great.
the other girl character who is in love with Iggy but never got
But
to
can't
explore
leave.
it.
Yeah.
So couldn't.
He
leave the
told her
town.
to
Yeah.
leave, so I assume she
So
left.
I think she just
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had mind control.
What
at
happened to
that point.
her?
She had a great time.
Does she
She
ever
follow
opened a
up on that
bakery
book?
and.
Does she what?
The waitress character who, like, he says, you should leave this place when he has, like, his demon powers.
Yeah.
Does she leave in the book?
I don't think that's ever explored.
I wanna see it.
Oh.
She goes to
Yeah.
Portland
I don't remember.
and opens a donut shop. And,
Yeah.
And secretly
And then
hates
we
it.
eat donuts and put it on Instagram.
yeah.
Yes, it's all back around.
Follow
Yeah.
Plug the
Donut
Instagram.
Adventures on.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Go on. Plug the donut adventure. That's it. That's Granzy.
You guys
Um,
are gonna get 20 more followers.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna whip us round to our final thoughts. So this is having absorbed the conversation, Kelsey. It's essentially a mirror image of the hot takes.
Can I say something because I
Oh, yeah,
feel
sure,
like
go for it, yeah,
it's
yeah.
more of a conversation.
Do it. Bring it on.
What did you guys think about the interaction of the film with like its theme? Because I wasn't sure it quite got to what it was about and like kind of about its kind of like sins being explored and choosing the right sin and revenge being a sin and it wasn't. It felt like it was part of the aesthetic of the horns rather than actually to do with the story of the
I
film.
agree with that. My kind of take is that this felt like, in the same way that it had elements of like absurdist cinema, in a sense. With absurdist cinema, I always feel like it's less about what the film is trying to say and more about the experience of it. So I felt like this was more set piece general emotional tone rather than specific message or didactic teaching, if you follow me. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but I didn't feel there was necessarily anything I could point to and say, this was the theme. Because it's they may have made us root for a character who is literally Satan, which the Mummy failed to do, you will recall.
Oh, yes.
Remember, Tom Cruise was literally the devil.
Wait, that's what happened?
That's what happens in the movie.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
you please listen to our episode.
I did.
I say the words, but he's literally the devil. Multiple times.
I didn't think he was actually literally.
No, literally,
the
they're
devil.
like, yo, this evil mummy that they're possessing Tom Cruise with is literally Satan, and we're all like, but he's Satan now. And the part of the problem is, it's like, while you can evoke, pseudo Christian iconography of having the devil and like all the stuff that goes along with that. And I'm like, yeah, sure, we want to look at these traditionally sort of evil icons and sort of recognize the humanity in them. But he is the devil, and he is a malignant force, and having him, like, heroically tear off his magical divine charm that stops him from being the devil so he can fucking murder a guy who completely deserved to be horribly murdered. We've already established that Lee was shit. But tonally, it's good to do bad things if you do a bad thing for the right reason? Is that the message of the film?
Well, I thought it like hammered it a bit when he talks to the dad, and he's like,
sometimes you gotta pick the right sin.
Choose your
sometimes
sins,
everything's
bro.
bad, so you gotta choose this. You gotta choose your sin.
That's a bit of a nihilistic message, really, isn't it? That's a bit like kind of, well, you're gonna fucking do terrible things, so why don't you pick the thing you're gonna do terrible things for?
I don't think it is, though, because the point is that there is no such thing as a bad thing.
What?
So it's not...
Apart from, like, killing Juno Temple with a rock. That was pretty unequivocally framed as a bad thing.
I would say that, that's a bad thing, but...
Excellent. And, like, sexual assault and murder, bad.
The whole point is that, like, it's really about, like, the hypocrisy of the church, the hypocrisy of God, him or her or themselves, and who's to say?
Now, here's the thing. Does that come out more in the book? Or because I feel like the film, while there was a lot of religious trappings, I feel like it was quite a secular look. It felt like a secular creator using religious iconography to act out a not particularly religious story. Like, there's the bit where the priest is like, why don't you go fucking hang yourself, Daniel Radcliffe?
Yep.
But I don't know if it comes out more in the book that there's more of a actual criticism against, like, religion.
Oh,
or,
absolutely.
like,
yes.
Yeah, okay, right. I feel like they let that stuff slide a bit in favor of one being more palatable to American audiences, I assume? Is that...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that
really
it's just...
hard to...
It's very expositional. I mean, it's hard to visually show, like, a religious or anti-religious theory. It's hard to get that across in a movie, I would say.
There's a lot going on in that movie already.
Have you guys seen I'm loath to mention Ricky Gervais.
But
Morally
you're gonna do
ambiguous potential foe of the podcast. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Ricky Gervais. Just wish he'd fucking calm down.
We avoid him at pies, but he's not an enemy.
Yeah,
of the
it's
show.
like it's like notable drag Ricky Gervais of the show. Have you seen his movie Invention of Lying?
Nope.
That is a movie that is very, very much a full-out fictionalized critique of religion, and it's very, very obvious, that it uses, again, a lot of the trappings, but the basic premise of that film is that the world is the world, except nobody can tell lies, and everyone can only say the exact truth, at least as they perceive it. And then Ricky Gervais discovers that he can lie, and he uses it because no one understands what the concept of lying is. He uses it to get ahead in the world. He uses it to, establish a relationship with a person he's always had a crush on, etc., etc. And he also accidentally creates religion. Because the premise is that religion is a convenient lie to help people feel better about the hard things like death.
Right.
In the trailer, doesn't he also use to have sex with a woman under false pretenses?
Probably,
I remember
yes.
that in the trailer.
I think he may...
The trailer?
Well,
Put that in the trailer.
They give
in
the
the trailer,
good stuff away.
He tells like a woman like, "Oh, the world's gonna end if we don't have sex."
Oh,
that may happen. Yeah, it's a little.
It's an extreme.
This is why
lie.
I'm like not enemy exactly of the show, but like Ricky.
Ricky, come talk to us for a little bit.
Come on, man.
Notable transphobe Ricky Gervais.
Oh.
We need to educate him.
I mean, he's very bad at listening to people on Twitter. Apparently he'll...
Nick has tried.
No, I haven't. But apparently he will seek out threads where people are talking about him, but he's not been tagged, and then he will block everyone in that thread because he doesn't want to see people talking against... I'm just like,
Just get off Twitter, man.
Yeah.
Just like hire someone to do Twitter for you, and then you don't have to look at it.
But he loves it. But anyway, I feel like we've drifted.
Yes.
So, if I may ratchet us back to Inferno Thoughts, who would like to lead off with their final thoughts? Sean, what do you feel?
So yeah, I generally enjoyed the film. I like the fact that it's I think of like it treads that line of taking itself seriously and not taking itself seriously at the same time. You know, entertaining, really nice visuals as well.
Yeah, some of the cinematography, I agree.
Really, really nice.
What was that shot where he's like getting up on that log flume with the shopping cart? There's like that big pan
That's
round across the
Yeah,
water. That was
really
Yeah.
nice.
that was really nicely done. Good crane work.
Yeah. Yeah, good fun. Yeah, I think everybody did a good job.
Yeah.
Bumps wise and that's, generally really, really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Shay.
Although not a perfect film, it's good to watch a film for once that is like has ideas and has quality
What do you mean for once?
I feel like.
Are you
it's-
saying that Valerian City of 1,000 Planets does not have ideas? Has too many ideas.
There's too many ideas and not explored enough. But it's nice to have we had like a proper. I was listening to us and I was like, this seems like a proper conversation about.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't just have our face in our hands the whole time.
We don't
What kind of
we're not just
what
screaming.
podcast is this?
Yeah. All right. But generally, so positive.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
positive to
Kelsey.
I agree. Definitely not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty damn close to perfect. I love that movie.
Oh.
I think it's so clever. I think it's so brilliant, and I love everyone in it. It's great.
Oh, that's
Great music too. Can we
Oh
talk
yeah,
about the
soundtrack
music?
was
Soundtrack
soundtrack was very very positive.
Yeah.
The whole recurrent theme of like
placed.
him being a DJ and his parents being musicians, his
Mhm.
brother being a musician. Lots of people clearly thinking, okay, at this point this track plays. Just like, oh, David Bowie, yeah, we could be heroes. And you're like
Yes.
fucking in a treehouse.
Yes.
Yes,
It's perfect.
exactly. EJ.
I've had this film hyped for the past 4 years.
by whom?
EJ gestures at Kelsey.
Magnificent guest. And I'm very pleased to say it did live up to the hype.
Yeah.
It
Well
was
done.
a very enjoyable, ridiculous film, and I was on board. It was good.
Although
It
during
was-
our first brownie break, you did say, what did you say?
I don't remember.
You were like,
There's been
this is so weird.
Yeah,
and I
it
told
is.
you it's gonna get weirder, and you were
And-
like, it is so weird.
And it was.
Yeah.
But enjoyably
In
so.
the most fabulous of ways.
Yeah, I like that it leaned into its just premise, and it didn't try to explain it or like come full circle in some crazy way.
But it did have a nice little circular thing
Yes,
with
it
ending
did
at the
bookend
beginning.
it nicely.
Yeah. And finally, I guess for me, I think that the way I would describe this movie is I think it is this is going to sound like damning with faint praise, but I mean this in a very positive way. It was as good as I think this movie could have been, because we've discussed previously, like, there's kind of problematic or not quite fully formed ideas in there, but while maintaining those themes and maintaining those ideas not fully explored, I think it made a really good film. Like clearly, production team worked really, really hard,
Yeah.
and Daniel Radcliffe, friend of the show, good lad,
Oh, yes.
does a great
Yeah.
turn, well done, very pleased. Generally, the cast come together and do really, really well.
Actually, more than a friend.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Paramore of the show, Daniel. I'm gonna have to. Is Daniel Radcliffe still on Twitter? Yeah, I'll tweet him. We'll be like, Daniel, we really liked you in this film, and we feel like you should hear our thoughts. But yeah, it was really solid. I guess if I had to close out, I'd say we didn't come here with the intention. Well, I mean, I didn't come here with the intention of recording a podcast. But here we are, and I think this has been a really good one.
I agree.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone on the panel. I'm going to do a little closer thing now. This is a new bit rather than abrupt bullshit endings. I know you're looking surprised. I still have regrets that we
Feels
lost
weird.
the final line at the end of Ready Player One.
Wait,
same here.
When I was all
when-
like, take
yeah.
that, Blizzard, and Joe was like, what's Overwatch? I was just like, damn it! Some
Well,
of the
but
things.
now we kind of.
Yeah, now people are there. But anyway, join us next time when it'll be A Quiet Place next, right?
Yes.
That's the
yes,
plan,
let's
yeah.
watch A Quiet Place.
Hey Ted, I know this isn't the podcast I told you that my friend Ted lives in Canada.
Hey, Ted.
Hey Ted.
Hi, Ted.
Yeah, he's really interested in this film because it's deaf actors and his wife is deaf as well, so he's really looking forward to it coming out. And I said, like, we'll give you a shout out. We're going to go in and properly, like, do a good podcast on it.
Yes.
So join us next time for A Quiet Place.